What is going on, gunfighters? Welcome back to Gunfighter Life, the podcast where we talk about gunfighting the right way, with Judeo-Christian values and real-world, first-hand experience. As always, I am your host, Michael Melito. This is going to be a short episode, so I'm going to do an abbreviated bio. First and foremost, I am a servant of God and a follower of Jesus Christ. The first-hand experience I speak of, God has blessed me by keeping me alive and getting me through a career of professional gunfighting, whether that is a Marine Corps combat veteran or U.S. Marine Corps urban warfare instructor, LAPD as a regular patrol cop and more specialized assignments, a private contractor, the commander of a tactical team to stop active shooters, and first and foremost, a Christian. Today, we're going to talk about weapons lights. This is a Patreon request. If you'd like to make a request, become a patron. A lot of people really like to run weapons lights on their handguns. I generally do not, especially not for concealed carry. And even when I was a police officer wearing a full Sam Brown, or when I was the commander of a tactical team to stop active shooters wearing a legit war belt, I still thought they were too big and too bulky. And I have to have a regular flashlight anyway to search. You're not going to be searching, you shouldn't be searching with a handgun light on your handgun. I've tried them. I tried them as a police officer, LAPD. I just find them to be too big and too bulky. There's this whole thing with firepower versus maneuverability. I'd like to have all the kit and all the stuff, but there comes a tipping point where you're slowing yourself down. There's a bunch of people getting shot, and I have to sprint a mile, which is not unheard of when I was the commander of a tactical team. Do I want to get there a few seconds later with more stuff, or do I want to get there quicker with less stuff? And I have to balance that. And to me, the weapons light, both for speed of being able to run and for maneuverability. How about hopping over a 6-foot chain link fence? Or how about crawling in stuff? That's another common scenario, searching for people inside ventilation and stuff like that, inside pipes. That's scenarios that happen as a police officer, as, doing the tactical stuff. They were just too big and too bulky. And especially for concealed carry. I don't carry one. A lot of people do, and that's fine. They're not my thing. I like to carry a handheld light that is part of my EDC. I encourage it to be part of your EDC, whether or not you have a weapon-mounted light. If you have a weapon-mounted light, that does not excuse you from having a handheld light. You shouldn't be trying to find the thing you dropped in your car with your gun with your weapons light. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with running a weapons light on your handgun. I'm saying for me, I never liked the trade-off. And there's always a trade-off. There's always that firepower versus maneuverability and speed, and I don't like that trade-off. You could carry, and there's a limit to how much I can carry for my everyday concealed carry gun. That's a full-size fighting handgun for me. That is a, right now, 6-hour P226 single-action only Legion with a red dot sight. Aluminum alloy frame. It's not a light gun, but it's not a super heavy gun. It's right at the limit of how much I will actually carry and can run and sprint with. I do wind sprints with that gun. It's right at that limit. If I put a weapons light on there, I can no longer do that. And I'd rather have that gun with no light than a little tiny gun with a big heavy light on it. It's just not my thing. And as you can imagine from the bio, I have quite a bit of experience shooting with a handheld light. I know several different techniques. I practice them. In fact, it's been a few days. I probably should practice that again as part of my dry fire routine. But that being said, for me, for a carry gun, whether it's open carry on duty, which I did in times past, or everyday carry, concealed carry, I'm not a fan of weapons lights on handguns. So where do they make sense? Well, a lot of people would say, well, it doesn't really matter on a home defense handgun. And I would say, yeah, that's totally viable. If your home defense weapon is a handgun, then yeah, put a light on it. Put a light on it, put a laser on it, put a giant red dot sight on it. You know, put the extended whatever 20 something round, 30 something round magazine in there if you want. It doesn't really matter because you're not concealing it. That being said, my go-to defense gun of any kind, unless I have to carry it on me, is not a handgun. Handguns are not good ballistically. Handguns, although they're the weapon I practice with the most, have won the most competitions with, they're not the best choice for home defense, and I would disagree with anybody that says that. And they're entitled to their opinion just like mine. Everybody has their own opinion. Hopefully you listen to this because I come at this from real-world first-hand experience. Handguns are the hardest weapon to shoot. I speak as a multiple-time state pistol champion. They are the hardest weapon to shoot. Also, in general, have the least amount of terminal ballistic capability, meaning they stop threats less effectively than long guns. For those reasons, a handgun is not my go-to home defense weapon. They do have some advantages, being able to fire one-handed and things like that, but they're not my home defense weapon. So that's a moot point for me there as well. If it is your home defense weapon, I would encourage you to look into getting a 12-gauge shotgun or a 20-gauge shotgun and running it. But if it's your home defense weapon and that's what you have and you want to throw a light on it, I'd say go for it. Where do I run white lights? I run white lights on long guns, on ARs, on shotguns. I think they make a lot of sense for that. You're not concealed carrying an AR, even an AR pistol, unless you're like wearing a trench coat or a duster or something. You're not concealed carrying it, so it really doesn't matter. Likewise, a shotgun. A shotgun's already going to weigh 4 to 6, 7 pounds, so another couple of ounces on the weight of the gun really isn't going to affect it that much. They make a lot of sense for that. If I'm searching with a shotgun for home defense, yeah, I would like a white light on it for sure. The other place I really see these making sense, if you listen for any amount of time and you listen to the Alpha Male podcast, you know that I am a big fan. I don't know that I invented this concept, but the baby bug out bag, the bailout bag. Not like a giant bug out bag, but something small and easy to carry that you can have within sprinting distance. If you're in your cubicle, it can be in your top drawer. If you're at the gym, it can be in your locker. It's small, portable. You can have that ready with emergency supplies. And that encompasses a lot of things. Emergency medical, a tourniquet, the survival C's as they're called. But one of the things that bailout bag, that baby bug out bag is great for is an upgrade in firepower. Additional firepower. I think this is a place where the weapon mounted light makes a lot of sense because you're not concealing this on your body. That bailout bag, that baby bug out bag, sling bag, is not super heavy, but you're still not going to notice probably a few ounce difference in putting a light in there. And unlike carrying one on your body that's going to make it bigger and bulkier to conceal, it's probably not going to make it any harder to conceal to have a weapon mounted light on there. If you're intrigued by that idea, we sell those at the website. No apologies for that. GoodShepherdTraining.com. GoodShepherdTraining.com. There's a bug out bag, a baby bug out bag, a bailout bag on there. A good solid fixed blade knife and a good platform designed for a handgun to hold a full-size fighting handgun. And if you're going to do that, again, this makes a lot of sense to me that you're going to put a weapon mounted light on there. Because again, why not? Have a regular flashlight in there too, an upgraded one. The kit we sell comes with an upgraded light compared to what most people EDC for a variety of tasks, but it wouldn't hurt to have an extra light mounted on your weapon, and if something happened, you could just remove it from your weapon and use it as a flashlight. You could have something big, a lot of firepower in there, and be totally concealed, like an FN, an FNX45 tactical with a optic mounted on it and a weapons light, extended magazine, a couple of extra magazines in the pocket, and that's going to be quite a big step up in firepower from what most people carry as their concealed carry handgun. And again, for that, having shotgun in your car, in the top drawer of your cubicle, in your gym locker, when you're out scouting a new area for a fishing hole or whatever, you can have it with you and on you. And in that case, a weapon mounted light makes a lot of sense. So when I do run weapon mounted lights, what do I like? Especially, I mentioned long guns. Well, I really like a white light on a long gun. I think that's one of the two mandatory accessories considering you don't count the magazine as an accessory. The two primary accessories one should have on any long gun for defense is a white light and a good sling. And that's really it. You can add other stuff if you want, but you should have a white light and a good sling on your go-to defensive long gun. And just like a lot of people are going to disagree with me that love their Glock, 19 with their giant light mounted on there with their big holster, that's fine. You can disagree. That crowd will likely disagree with me on this. I think that the vast majority of tactical lights have way too many lumens. And again, I speak from first-hand real-world experience, not from some theoretical thing. And I've had very good training classes, and I'm not talking about taking a training class at night, which I have definitely done, or outside on a range using a white light. I'm talking about real-world searching in urban environments with a white light. I think the vast majority of tactical lights have way, way too many lumens. I think the vast majority of them are so powerful that they are a detriment instead of an asset. You're going into, let's say, a condo. You don't know how it's laid out. You've never been in there before. And you go to clear a bathroom. And you hit that light and it's 1,000 lumens. And you can't see anything or anybody that comes out in the next several seconds because you're blind because you shined it in the mirror. Because you didn't know there was a mirror there because it was dark. That's the whole point of the light. Or forget a mirror, just shining it on a white wall that happens to be 2 feet in front of you. And now you're blind and you, for all intents and purposes, can't see anything or anybody, either friendly or foe. And you can't identify that because the light is so bright. I've done that enough in real-world first-hand experience to say I don't want a super powerful light on my AR or whatever I'm using for that kind of environment. It's, to hunt coyotes at night, that's one thing. It's for searching in the forest at night or a perimeter of a homestead, that's another thing. Say for that, yeah, all the lumens you want. For an urban environment, for room clearing, for things like that, I certainly do not want a 1,000 lumen light. And a lot of that is marketing, and a lot of that is America. Bigger is better, more is more. Tim the Toolman Taylor, more power, more lumens, more candle power, more candela. More is not always better. So judge your circumstances. If it's for room clearing, if it's for doing urban ops, less is usually more for that. A couple of 100 lumens is fine, is more than enough to clear any building. And I've been in some big buildings. Some of the biggest structures in real-world environments, and a couple of 100 lumens is plenty. If you can't see it with a couple of 100 in an urban environment, you probably can't see it with 1,000, and there's a good chance it's going to blind you. That's my opinion. Like I said, a lot of people will disagree with that, and that's fine. With that said, got off on a little bit of a tangent there, and my Rhodesian Ridgeback, Alexander Hamilton, has decided that it's playtime. And some more dog food and a Kong full of peanut butter and treats and way less annoying Rhodesian Ridgeback, who I love very much. But consider that your tactical tip of the day for Rhodesian Ridgebacks. Kong with some peanut butter and some crushed up milk bones in there. Perhaps he's a little bit antsy the last couple of times we have been out. We have treed no bears or coons or mountain lions. And today is preparation day for Sabbath, so probably not today either. Where was I? More is not always better. What are my choices and my go-to choices for a white light weapon mounted? Well, I'm going to disappoint some people here too. So, two that I really like, don't believe are made anymore. I really liked the Enforce because they were small, compact. They were great on a weapon. They didn't really change the handling of the weapon. They were the Enforce, the really small one, and not even going to bother looking up the name because I don't believe they make it anymore. It was a couple 100 lumens. It was really good. Ran the crap out of those for quite a while as a professional gunfighter, operating tactically as a tactical operator in a tactical environment. I like them a lot. They don't make them anymore. I believe all the other brands I'm going to talk about are StreamLight, and I'm not endorsed by StreamLight. I had sponsors in the past, not on this show, but in the past, especially when I was anyway, I don't do that anymore because I consider that a bribe, and I will take no bribe, as the Bible says. I looked at that objectively, and they're kind of giving me money to endorse a product, and I don't do that here. I consider that a bribe. So I get no kickbacks from these guys or anything, but all the ones I'm going to recommend are StreamLight. So I looked just to make sure a couple of places, and unless it's available somewhere that I'm not aware of, this next light I really like. I think I started running it in 2006 or 2007. I ran it as a police officer, ran it in all manner of jobs that I mentioned before. It is my go-to kind of tactical light, and it is the StreamLight M3. Now, although it's not available, I'm going to tell you what I like about it so you can find it in some other comparable platform, whether it's StreamLight or some other manufacturer, but I'm going to tell you why nothing else has managed to replace it. And I've run many, many other lights. This is still my favorite light. One, I've been running it hard since 2006 or 7, so however long that is. It's still going strong. I still use it. I was out training with it yesterday, as a matter of fact, before the patrons asked for this episode, just coincidentally. It is on my go-to, or what is kind of in the air right now is my kind of one go-to apocalypse gun. Like if the peanut butter and chocolate hits the fan, it's on that gun for good reason. I trust that light. So if you're going to get a flashlight, try and get one that has a good reputation. My same general rule applies as I talk about with a firearm or other kit that you're going to trust your life to. Don't get something when it first comes out. Don't trust your life to something unproven. Don't be a beta tester in a gunfight. Make sure the model's been out for a few years, it's well tried and well tested, and wait for the V2, the version 2 to come out, or 2.0 or whatever if it has issues. So that'd be my number one recommendation for weapons light. Number 2, watch those lumens. Philosophy of use, what are you going to use it for? More is not always better. This is also ambi controlled, both sides. It's got a flipper switch that I can hit with my index finger or my thumb depending on how I'm running it. It's got a momentary on and a permanent on. I like that. It's lightweight. I like that. It's not that small because this is like generations old technology. It's not even LED. This is pre-LED. Or I'm sure LEDs probably existed, but they weren't common like they are today. It's a xenon bulb. I like that. I've had no issues with it. It's had the same bulb the entire time I've run it, and I've beat the crap out of this thing. The other thing I really like about this that I don't like about most other lights is its quick detach, quick movable. It has like a spring tension bar, so you literally just push it down and slide it on your rail and let go, and it locks into place. And when you want to take it off, you pull the tabs down on each side and pull it off. To sit there and screw it on, screw it off, all that stuff. I've never had it come off any gun, a shotgun, a handgun, a rifle, ever. I can pull it off in fractions of a second if I want it off, or put it on in a few seconds if I want it on. It's, again, the StreamLight M3. They're not available anymore, but those features I really like. I have not found anything else to supplant that as my go-to weapons light. I like that light. Talked about handheld lights. I think you should have a handheld light as part of your EDC, whether you're a professional gunfighter or just a well-regulated modern Minuteman as part of the citizen militia. I think you should have a flashlight as part of your EDC. And my recommendation on this is going to be the Streamlight MicroStream USB. The Streamlight MicroStream USB is awesome. It is definitely bright enough. It is USB rechargeable. So generally, if I remember, once a week I'll plug it in. It's whatever they call it. I think micro USB or USB-C. I forget, but the most common one, little micro charger. You literally, oh, it's wet inside. Still working though. Literally, you just plug it in and it charges. I use this thing hard. I've had it for a while. Not nearly as long as the other Streamlight, but it is going strong. I got mine in burnt bronze or FDE, whatever you want to call it. Get yours in whatever color you want. It's a small, handy flashlight. It's got plenty of lumens for just about anything I want it for. It's got, this is the thing I don't like about it, it has high and low. I wish it just had one mode. I like simplicity, but it has two. It's not that complicated. It's lightweight. It goes next to my knife and my support side pocket for EDC. That way I can grab my gun and my light at the same time if I'm going to shoot at night in the dark and I need it. The next one I'm going to talk about, I also ran professionally for quite a while. If you want a little bit bigger, I think it's a little bit too big for me for EDC as not a professional gunfighter. If I'm in uniform with a war belt and stuff and this goes in a magazine pouch, not a big deal. But it's a StreamLight ProTac. I really like this light because it'll run on the fancy CR batteries, but it'll also just run on a AA, so it'll run on either battery. And AA's are a lot easier to find. I like that. Not as good as my micro USB rechargeable because I can just recharge that one, and I think it would also run on just a standard AAA. But this, anyway, will run on the more tactical batteries, the CR batteries, or just a regular AA. And again, it's a StreamLight ProTac. This is also my secondary weapon-mounted light. They make adapters, or I should say I fashioned an adapter to mount this on my other go-to fighting long gun. If I want to, I can just grab it and use it as a regular light in my hand. But it's also a great weapon-mounted light. It has a simple rear push pad. I like that. I like simplicity. I don't like pressure switches. I don't like any of that stuff. I mount it in such a way that I can get a natural firing grip and I can hit it with my thumb. Simple. I have 2 of these. I've never had any issues with them breaking other than the batteries going dead. That's really it. This one does have a strobe effect. Again, I don't like that. I like simplicity. I wish you just had one mode, hit it, and you're good, and then click it all the way down and it will stay on, which I like that. I like the temporary and the permanent, but I don't like different modes. That's just me. Again, my EDC is the Streamlight MicroStream, and my go-to other one from that, my upgraded high lumen one for handheld or weapon mounted, is the Streamlight ProTac. They're great lights. Less important what brand you have, how many lumens it is, and more important that you train with it and run it. On training with a flashlight, one thing I will tell you, one thing I would recommend that you practice when you are searching, when you're searching with your handheld light, whether your weapon's out or not, have that light moving back and forth, up and down. You can still see where the beam is, but don't be a static target just standing there if you think you're in a hostile environment. Bad idea. If you pick up a threat in the beam of that light, turn off the light, let it be dark, move, hopefully to cover, get your weapon out, if it's not already out, then when you're ready, put the light back on. Light on, moving fairly quickly to search, you find target, light off, you get ready to engage, light on, then you decide if you are going to engage. There are different philosophies of use on that, but that's kind of my go-to. There are other situations where you may not want to do that, where you may want to keep the light on the target if it's running or moving or something like that. But in general, if you're in an environment where that threat is or may be shooting back at you, I consider that a best practice. All the things I've learned and been shown. I know this is a short episode. I'm going to put it out on Sunday. That's the plan, God willing. Thanks to all the patrons for all that they do. We'll wrap it up with a tactical verse of the day. Whatever weapons light you choose or don't choose, that might be an important decision in your life, especially if you ever need it in a real world environment. But a far more important decision, a far more important light is Jesus Christ. For he said, I am the light of the world. John 8, your Bible verse of the day. I am the light of the world. Whatever light you may or may not have, make sure you have that light. Make sure you have the light of Christ. For if you win 100 gunfights and go to perdition, what was it all for? So have the light of Christ, men, and go out and be salt and light in this world. Thanks for listening, and have a blessed day.